What's good? What's good? It's a Friday, and I actually have the day off from both jobs. I didn't plan this, it just worked out. I found out late yesterday that there'd be no work today at my main job, and I just wasn't scheduled at Home Depot, my part-time job, which I'm thankful for because I'm still putting in about 52 hours this week. And so in 2 weeks from today, that'll be the first time that I get paid from both jobs. And I'm wicked stoked because although all that money's going towards bills, in a few months, I'll be able to actually start making progress, or rather, the progress will have been made if I am consistent, working 50 to 60 hours for the next few months. I can do it. I'm not bragging. I feel like I'm bragging, being like, I'm so blessed I have 2 part-time jobs. The real blessing is that I have the day off and I get to go do yoga by the beach later. But before I do that, I want to troll a little bit. And maybe troll is not the right word. I like the word stultification. Essentially to take the power away from something, to render something kind of impotent. That's what I try to do, or to break the spell in a sense. And the mainstream media, unfortunately, is primarily propaganda. It's primarily fear porn. It's primarily emotional and spiritual manipulation. The social engineers are really good at their job. And unfortunately, we are in this place, this conundrum of a place where we have to still try to stay somewhat informed, but we have to not let the outrage affect us. And I'm doing okay currently. I'm staying somewhat informed, but not getting outraged. But I still find entertainment in kind of the narratives and the commentary around them. And I like to provide my own. And so I'm going to connect 2 narratives that you might not think are connected initially, but I promise you they are, so bear with me. Based on the title of this video, Cracker What? Jeet killed how many? If you're not aware of it, let me tell you, Cracker Barrel changed their logo. Some woke liberal white woman wanted to decolonize the branding, right? And so decolonization is, a popular academic postmodern word for eradicating the Western influence of an institution. How is that connected to the other headline? Well, let's get to the other headline. Jeet kills how many? Another news story, if you're not familiar with. An immigrant. I think there's questions around his legal status and around the fact of how he got a CDL in the first place. Did a very terrible traffic turn. He was driving on the freeway and tried to use a median that's reserved for emergency vehicles and a break in the interstate to make a U-turn. Totally illegal for even a normal vehicle to do, let alone a tractor trailer, so a semi hauling a load. And the person behind him, the vehicle behind him, was unable to stop in time because it was just he was being a fucking piece of shit. Excuse my language. See, I let the emotions take over for a minute, but we're gonna go back to normal. Okay. They died. They crashed into his trailer and they died. 3 people, I believe, were killed by this person. And what makes it so much worse is the apathy he has displayed throughout most of the process. There are so many videos and pictures of him directly at the scene, seeming relatively indifferent. And then I think even after the fact, just there has been no remorse or contrition shown that I'm aware of. Please send me a link if there's a video, if you see a video of him apologizing, of him showing remorse and sadness and grief. Please, I want to see that video because I want to see humanity from this person. This person who probably should not have been here, who should not have been driving a truck, but because of the, and this is where I'm gonna challenge the mainstream narrative, because there's this thing called the Great Replacement, which mainstream will tell you is not happening, but reality will tell you is happening. They are trying to, in decolonizing America and Western countries, they're also trying to replace the populations with people who will work for less, who are often immigrants from other countries, and who have lower standards of morality, ethics, and virtue as a direct result of the circumstances, the place where they came from. So India, this driver was from India, hence the usage of the term Jeet, I believe is somewhat of a negative word, and he killed 3 people, so he does not deserve dignity, and he hasn't shown remorse. So anyways, okay, so they're trying to replace the classic Western countries' populations with those of the third world, for exactly the purpose of the fact that they will work for less, and that they have just lower standards for themselves and for what they expect from their countries and their communities and their leaders. Because those of us who were sold the illusion of the American dream and the just beauty of modernity and what it could provide, we see the corruption that is destroying the world. And each country has its own little, I call them petri dishes in a sense, experiments. They have their own little, or big, big issues that they're dealing with. So for example, like when you think of China, they have the biggest surveillance state that I'm aware of, the most cameras. I think England's second, which is not so surprising. America's got to be up there as well, and we also have a surveillance state. We have, the CIA, the FBI, all these 3-letter agencies, the ones that are known, the ones that are unknown. It's fucking beyond comprehensible. I think that's one reason so many people refuse to acknowledge how corrupt our world leaders are, and how corrupt our systems and institutions truly, truly are, because it is beyond comprehensible to the average mind. To the average person who is not sociopathic or psychopathic, you cannot imagine, like, being okay with using pedophilia and blackmail to run a world, to run a government, to influence a government. So now I'm talking about, let's talk about, I used to say the ruling class, and I used to say the oligarchs and the elites, but now I say the Epstein people. The Epstein people run the world. And they use pedophilic blackmail, and then just other degenerate blackmail in general, drugs, even of-age hookers. So, adult hookers, but if you're a congressman and you get caught with an adult hooker, you're still kind of gonna bow and bend the knee and kiss the wall, as they say. I'm being subtle here, but also pretty direct. They want to destabilize the world so they can then consolidate power and resources. It's truly that simple, and satanic and unfortunate. And because you who might watch this are so normal, you just cannot comprehend that level of darkness, that you just don't want to face it, because it creates so much cognitive dissonance that it's easier to look away. But the truth is that the subversion of all of our countries is an intentional effort to destabilize, which makes it easier to consolidate power and resources. And they're really good at it. And so that's how those two narratives are connected. The decolonization is just academic bullshit for we need to import mass amounts of immigrants who will destroy Western values and Western traditions, which, albeit not perfect, are pretty fucking awesome. You know, like there's this expression, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's something to keep in mind when reflecting on Western values. And I'm not just talking about modernity, because I think modernity is really where we started to deviate, honestly. Western values truly start in antiquity, in Greece, in Rome. Start there. That's when they killed Jesus. I'm gonna end the video here. Much love, y'all.